Hey, it's Kevin. Welcome back to the Road Warrior. I was driving the other day and driving through one of the busy shopping sections of town. The areas where you'd have like, six or eight fast foods side by side by side by side, somewhere near an interstate. And half of them were closed. Or the other day, I use in quotes, neighborhood Hooters just closed unexpectedly. But they were only closed temporarily. And I kind of chuckled. I know that the Hooters chain is in trouble, and I have a feeling this one's gone for good. But they're giving you it's only temporary. We saw that during COVID. The Shoney's restaurant, which at one time I think were based in Nashville, I don't know if they still are. I think they may be. Had six or eight around town, and when COVID hit, they closed most of them temporarily. Especially the one by my house, over by the mall. And it's not opened, and it's never opening back again because it wasn't temporary. I don't know why they tell us a temporary thing, but I've noticed that the convenient life we led in the 2000s, the 2010s, is gone. The big box store open 24 hours a day. Still a few, but not many. Your Walmarts, your Myers, not as much anymore. They don't have the people, number one, to be able to staff the stores, and it's not worth the money they take in those hours staying open. Same thing in fast food. And with all the political stuff going on with illegal aliens, and because a lot of people of foreign descent worked in fast food, sometimes the only jobs they could get, with them not wanting to work, them wanting to stay off the radar, possibly them being deported, you're seeing a lot of fast food locations shutting down. A lot of stores, a lot of retailers had to shut down because they just, with the rising cost and the rising cost of, paying people, even though they haven't raised prices, even though they haven't raised wages heavily, the profits just aren't there. So we're used to have a drugstore on every corner, a gas station on every corner, a McDonald's or a Hardee's or a Wendy's or a Burger King on every corner. You don't anymore. And again, it's not a bad thing that we have to drive 2 miles to a McDonald's, 2 miles to a grocery store. It's just a strange reality because we didn't realize how good we had it. Although some would say we didn't have it good. That was the problem. They were making so much money that every time they'd open up a new store, nobody felt the pain. It was feast or famine. Sure, we do have 24-hour convenience stores and 24-hour gas stations, but even some aren't open 24 hours a day anymore. And I remember back in the day, gosh, this is probably college years, just after college years in the 80s, when you couldn't drive certain places, long distances. When I tried to drive between Virginia Beach and Charlotte, North Carolina, I had to make sure I had enough gas in my car because there are certain parts of that trip, there were no gas stations to stop at in the middle of the night. There were none open. The convenience stores of today didn't always have gas. 7-Eleven didn't have gas at one time. And there weren't a lot of truck stops in those days, or truck stops in this path, and so you had to kind of time everything. You had to make sure you knew when the gas stations were open. Or if they were open, the crazy amount of money you'd pay for that gas. It was just astounding. I know our days of convenience may be behind us, possibly forever. Hard to say. It's going to be interesting to watch. But I will yearn for those days where it was convenient. Where if you were, needing something to cook in the middle of the night, you could just run to the local grocery store or the local Walmart or even a convenience store if you had to. Those truly were the days. Back next week, Road Warrior, right here, kevinmason.us, the home of all of our Road Warrior videos. And again, we're still working on the new home site. It'll be tough to say once I get it up and running and what the site is. And I'm still not sure which one it is yet. It's just trying to get everything down and get everything organized. And when you've done so many hundreds of these things, it's tough, 700 physical videos is not easy to manage. I'll tell you that. Back next week, Facebook, YouTube, you know the drill. Like, comment, share, tell a friend, the whole bit. Please, thank you. Have a good one. Thanks.